Brian Herbert said, "The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice." Good evening, my dear Toastmasters, and welcome to this session of the Pathways Training Program. I am Toastmaster Lasmi Selleheva, a member of Lyceum Toastmasters Club Nugegoda and Gateway College Toastmasters Club, currently serving the district as the DCP Chair for District 82. Just like the quote I just read out, every single one of you here are present here because you all are eager to learn something new, to improve yourselves. Toastmasters is all about self-development, and that is exactly what you are here for. We have two very interesting sessions lined up for you today, and this is one of the initiatives by the program quality team of District 82. Pathways, something new for all of us, but we are here to help you and guide you every step of the way to make your Pathways journey a little bit more easier. This is our second program in a series of programs that will be coming up. And if you missed our previous sessions on Pathways mentoring, as well as how to enroll in Pathways, we will post the YouTube links to those previous programs that you can visit and share with your club members as well. Moving to today's agenda, our first session is all about speech structuring. Organize your speech. Now, significant psychological and communication research has been done about how an audience needs and desires clear organization in a speech as they listen. And to help us understand more and to further learn about how to properly engage our audience, we have with us a Toastmaster. Now, this Toastmaster is, I must say, one of the most well-known personalities in District 82. The first thing that comes to mind is a hammer and a nail and his fear of climbing mountains. But that's not all that is there for him. He is the second runner-up in the International Speech Contest of Division E in the year 2019. He also competed in the Humorous Speech Contest in division level in 2019 as well. He is a Pathways trainer, and he has already completed the Effective Coaching Pathway. He is also an IELTS trainer. And this Toastmaster, when he takes up a responsibility, he ensures that he gives it his best and ensures that he definitely nails it. Let me now hand it over to Toastmaster Ravindu Amendra.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lasmi, for that wonderful introduction and session. They always says a good introduction always leads to a good presentation. Welcome you all, District 82, all the new members, all the members who are ready to learn the art of speaking to spark. And today, as your presenter, as your trainer, let's start our training. To make sure that our session is not boring, let's make it interactive. So when I ask some questions from you, you can always type in your chat box and you can always interact with me. Now, how many of you are wondering and searching ways that how to organize my speech and how to write my speech? Can I like have them in our chat box and say like, how many of you have trouble when you're scripting your speech and organizing your speech? So my dear friends, let's start the journey that how to outline your speech and organize your speech so that you can speak to spark and move the hearts of in your audience, where people will remember you, people will talk about you. Above all, people will get motivated and people will learn from you. Moving on, how to organize your speech. Now, by the end of this session, ladies and gentlemen, you will be able to identify the purpose, the audience, identifying the audience and the subject for your speech, and the most important thing, script your speech outline, and understand the importance of a well organized speech. I hope you all are ready for that. My dear friends, when it comes to a speech, the most important thing that you should remember that why you are speaking for this audience. That's why we call your speech should have a purpose. Now, when you are writing a speech, first of all, you should think what is the purpose of my speech. Once you do your speech, by the end of my speech, the people should what they should get from your speech. There are four types of purposes. So remember, whenever you are trying to write a speech, think about what is my purpose is going to be. By the end of my speech, I'm going to inform my audience about something, or else by the end of my speech I'm going to persuade people to do something. By the end of my speech I'm going to inspire people, or else by the end of my speech I'm going to entertain the whole audience that they roll out on the floor. So my dear friends, first of all, you should have your general purpose. That is the rule of thumb. Rule number one, have the purpose. So there are four types of purposes. One is to inform, second is to persuade, third is to inspire, fourth is to entertain. Now you can see in my presentation there are four pictures to inform. When it comes to informing, it's all about giving information about something that you have researched to the audience so that they can get that information and analyze and learn something new. Informative speech is all about that. To persuade, you persuade a group of people, a country, an organization to do something good. Remember, you can persuade someone to do bad as well. But we as Toastmasters who always stay upon these four qualities, respect, integrity, service, excellence, we always do things, persuade people to nail something good. You can see here these four speakers, four pictures. Now this, the first one is for an informative speech. I know there are university students as Toastmasters. Sometimes you are working in a business organization, so sometimes you have to do speeches about giving information. You have to do a research, analyze, and give some information. Can you see this second picture? Can anyone say that who is in the second picture in this presentation? Martin Luther King Jr. Exactly. One of the greatest speakers in the world have ever produced. From his speech itself, I have a dream, he was able to persuade the president then to change the whole constitution and give equal opportunities for the people who have a black skin. The next speaker, he inspired us, he inspired a whole nation, whole world, that when you are struggling, be with your people, that when someone is struggling around you, go around them, help them. He inspired that if you have some people loving you, you can achieve anything. Yes, Dhananjay Tiarachi, yeah. Yes, exactly. He told us that even a broken flower can be mended and then make a whole to be a better person in this world. to entertain. So what he did was he inspired the audience, giving his stories. So we got inspired from his speech at how he started from going to the jail and started to be a trainer and ended up becoming the world champion of public speaking. Isn't that what we want in this world as audience, to get inspired by listening to a speech? Third one, to entertain. The whole purpose of these types of speech are is to entertain people, give that much needed laugh, give that much needed endorphin rush to you in your day to day, this hectic life. You go to a stand up comedian, you watch a movie. Here in these speeches, what you do is you entertain people. Now, the fourth one here, Steve Harvey, one of the greatest stand-up comedians in this world at the moment itself, and also a good a champion TV anchor, who is his whole purpose is to entertain people. Now, my dear friends, I hope that now you know the difference between what is this informative speech, what is a persuasive speech, what is an inspirational speech, and what is an entertaining speech. Again, I'll be summing up with that. Informative speech, you are giving information to the audience so that they can analyze data and they can process data and they can come to a conclusion. Persuasion is all about you are persuading people, calling them to take an action. Inspire, you see them and you get to know what is their life story and you yourself get that inspiration. Entertainment is all about giving that laugh. So far, any questions about purpose? All right. We will be moving on now. We have the general purpose. For example, someone can say, okay, I'm going to do an informative speech. Now, the specific purpose is, let's say your speech purpose is to inform, to give some information. So what is my specific purpose? Let's say you have this topic, you want to talk about the global warming, or else you want to give a speech about the corona pandemic, or else you want to talk about the suicide. So that is the specific purpose. I am going to inform my audience by the end of my speech. I'm going to inform my audience about coronavirus. Now, about coronavirus is that your specific purpose. At the end of my speech, I'm going to inform my audience about global warming. At the end of my speech, I'm going to inform my audience about suicidal and the consequences of it. So your general purpose is to inform, give information about what, that is your specific purpose. Persuade. So you are going to do your speech in persuasion. So you are going to persuade people. Okay. At the end of my speech, I'm going to persuade people stop or stand against smoking. At the end of my speech, I'm going to persuade my people avoid and stand against color discrimination. At the end of my speech, I'm going to persuade my audience study well and share that knowledge to the world so that everyone can learn. So that is the persuasion. I'm going to persuade, that is my general purpose. So you are learning. So when you are going to write your speech, think, what is my general purpose? And then think your specific purpose. Third one, to inspire. At the end of my speech, I'm going to inspire my audience not to procrastinate things. Stop procrastination. At the end of my speech, I'm going to inspire people that never give up. At the end of my speech, I'm going to inspire people, help each other so that everyone around you grows. Got it? So that is my general purpose. That the next is my specific purpose. to entertain. Now, it is all about this comes when it comes to humorous speeches. Now, some people ask, when it comes to humorous speech, do I need to have a message? Well, it is good if you can have. But in this one, you can think at the end of my speech, I'm going to entertain my people, entertain my audience. There, your specific purpose might be, for example, you talk about the usage of mathematics, the problems you have in mathematics. There's a champion speaker called Shyam Raje. He has talked about how mathematics been a problem to him. So his specific purpose is, his general purpose is to entertain people. His specific purpose is how maths was a huge problem for him. Right? So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand how to identify when you are writing the speech. The first step is understanding, thinking your general purpose. Second one is break it down for your specific purpose. Now, my friends, it's not all about identifying your purpose. The second important thing is identify your audience. That's one of one of the most important factor when you are giving an audience, giving a speech. When you are going to write a speech, first think what is my purpose and do a research and think who is my audience. Well, how it works? Take this. You are going to do a speech to a set of engineers and you are talking about politics. How would they feel? You are going to do a speech to a set of school children and you talk about the family problems. You are going to do a speech for IT software engineers and you talk about all the medical terms. Would they understand? Will they understand it? Or else will they actually get benefit from your speech? So the second most important aspect when you are outlining a speech, when you are getting ready to do a speech, when you are getting ready to write a speech, understand your audience. Remember, it's like what I always believe, if you don't know your audience properly, it's like you are showing a movie, you write a script, you direct the movie, you can the movie, and you are going to show the movie, and no one comes to watch it because no one understands it. Okay, so remember, understand your audience. Right? Without understanding your audience, you will not understand. You will not able to achieve your purpose. That's how it connects. Without and proper understanding of the audience, you will not achieve your purpose. Okay. For another example, a quick example, you are talking about nowadays relationship problems related to this social media, this WhatsApp, Instagram, and these. If you go and talk this to a age group people in age group of 70, 65, will they understand it? Because in their time, the the prominent communication method was letters. So you have to talk about something like that. You cannot talk about something related to nowadays trends. How to outline your script? The most important thing. I'm going to write my speech. Okay. What is the technique? There are a lot of techniques. You have problem solution, you have hero goal, and this one is the most important thing. One of the most famous in use the burger method. What is that? So have you ever eaten burgers? Yesterday also I ate a burger, a cheeseburger. Now a burger you can see here, you have these two slices of breads and inside there you have your chicken slice and your vegetable, your tomato and all. Like that, Can you see the first two parts, which means the two slices of breads? I would say that is because burger is not a burger without bread, right? Like that, in a speech, the most important things is opening and the conclusion. If you have a killing opening, you are it. And still you have a killing opening, but you don't have a proper conclusion, then still uh, in you will be not that good in your speech. So, my dear friends, remember in your speech you should have a proper opening, proper body, proper conclusion. Your opening can be a strong should be strong attention grabbing opening. Opening is all about it leads into the speech topic. I would say if it is a film, it's like the trailer of your film. So people see the trailer and they get to know about the film and then they go to watch the movie. Like that, you give the trailer in the opening, giving attention grabbing opening. Good attention grabbing openings are this is Ananja's rose speech and all. Now, quickly, we are going to watch a champion speech and thereafter I will go further. Toastmaster Samira, can you play the video of Toastmaster Sanara? Please watch the video and let's see. All right, we are good to go.
Light up the world. A candle that can chase away the darkness. This is you and me. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, how unfortunate! It only took a small puff of air to destroy the light. How many times have you been taken down by small, unwanted, silly little things? I recall the first puff that shattered my heart. It was in grade 8 during my science period. And my science teacher, Miss Mari, we used to call her Marie Curie, she asked volunteers to read the lesson. And I volunteered, like I volunteer for most of the Toastmasters events. I went in front of the class and started reading. They used lorries to transport the rubber to the factory. At that point, the entire class started laughing because I mispronounced the word lorry. They were laughing so hard I couldn't cry, so I laughed with them. But deep down, I thought to myself, I'll never speak in front of anyone ever again. It didn't end there. The second puff took my light away when it was New Year's Eve 2016. I was ready to welcome the new year. I heard the countdown. 3, 2, 1. The fireworks, the crackers, the energy everywhere. I took my phone to wish my best friend a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, girl. May this be the best year yet. Heart, heart, heart. Message sent. I waited and waited and waited. No reply. She was online. No reply. She had seen the message. No reply. My best friend? I can wish her first, but she can't wish me? What is wrong with her? All I know is that she ruined the first day of a brand new year. All these small puffs made sense when it was New Year's Eve 2017, an exact year after. I heard the countdown. 3, 2, 1. But It felt so dull. That night, my mother was hospitalized at the Karapite General Hospital because she had a breathing difficulty. And the doctor came up to us and said, she won't be able to go home until it's removed. That night, I didn't care who was online. I didn't care who wished me or not. All I wanted was my mother to come back home soon. And that got me thinking of the previous year and all those little puffs which I thought were problems but were not even real problems. Why was I worried about Subani not replying to me? She still is my best friend and she clearly fell asleep that night. Ladies and gentlemen, you are bright, you are shining. But a small puff can take this light away from you. It can be someone not talking to you, or your boss overloading you with work, or you love someone who don't love you back. At a glance, these may seem like big problems, but they're only small puffs trying to take your light away. I thought speaking in front of people was scary, but right now I'm speaking to you virtually and it scares me more than anything. I don't know what your reaction is. But thanks to Toastmasters, I got back up. People will try to take your light away. But what you should do is to gain back that light by getting back up.
All right. So how was that speech? A champion speech, isn't it? Now, can you all see? Yes. Now that is an attention-grabbing opening. See how she started the speech by lighting a candle. So rather than saying anything else, she just used a candle and lighten up. So your curiosity aroused, right? So that's a strong attention-grabbing opening. And then she said, she leads into the topic. How many of you have thought something small thing happened to in your life and you got shattered, like this puff, from a small puff a candle can be blown away, like that. She slowly leads into the topic. And then when comes the body, the speech body, it has to have logical flow of ideas and points and supporting materials. Now this is the most important part. When it comes to points and supporting materials, what's the technique he used was using stories. Now, my dear friends, when you are outlining a speech, the tried and tested and the best way to have supporting material is to have personal stories. Because personal stories are always relatable, personal stories are always very near to our heart, and they are very authentic. Take Dhananjay's speech. He talks about his school life, then is how he found the job, then how he found the wife, and how he struggled. Stories. Remember, have personal stories when it comes to the body of your speech. How many points, how many stories I should have? I would say for a 5 to 7 speech, maximum would be 3. More than that, you will have the risk of time disqualified. Okay. Then the conclusion. The conclusion is it's all about the review or the summary of what you have talked from your opening in the body, and then you talk about give a message, or else you can have a good call to action. We have this technique called callbacks, which means you go back to whatever the stories that you talked about in your speech, and you connect them together to your message. See, in Sanara's speech, she talked about that what happened to her, and then she said the small thing that happened in school, now it's not a worry for me. My friend didn't text me, it's not a worry for me. So now what happens? Again, she called back whatever she spoke and giving you the message. We call that call back. And then after that, she is giving us a message that we call is call to action. Don't be blown away from small things in your life. In Dhananjay's speech, he says that, however, doesn't matter how much you broken you are, people are there to help you. That's the message. Moving on. Quickly, we are moving on. Okay, so I hope you got that. So techniques. So you can open your speech by a startling statement, or else tell a story or anecdote, or else display some object or picture. We call this using a prop. Any question, any problems, my dear friends, when it's come to opening and body and conclusions? Any questions? Are we good to move? Are we good to go? All right, great. I can see. All right. Remember, when it comes to an informative speech, you can always have that technique when you are concluding. You can summarize everything that you have showed in your presentation, the points. Then you can say, in conclusion, let me conclude, in summation. Okay. But when it's come to a personal story related speech, which means for a story like a speech, a persuasive speech, or an inspiring speech, you can call back to your stories, what you have said, and then you can say your message. My dear friends, tips for success. Remember, I saw these questions in our I will answer you in this Q&A session as well. This is always my mentor says to me, DTM himself level, memorize your conclusion. Because that is the place that you give your audience an action, call to action, or else you summarize everything. You should give a strong conclusion where, as I always tell, that is where you give that spark for your audience. That is where you move your audience heart. So have a proper message and memorize your conclusion properly. Okay. And end on time. 5 to 7 minute speech. Word count your speech matters a lot. For a 5 to 7 minute speech, it is recommended that if you can have around 700 to 750 words, depend on your speech rate, it is recommended to have that kind of a word count and refrain from adding new point. This has happened to me in so many times. Which thing? Remember, this is a prepared speech. So it is always better to go and deliver whatever the speech that you practice. If you try to add new points, sometime will put you in trouble. Rather than that, be prepared, practice, and go for whatever the speech that you practice. And how to nail it? Your speech. Write your speech as the way that I told you. Have a proper opening, have proper good body, use giving good supporting points. Your supporting points can be your information or else your stories. And conclusion, write your speech, rewrite your speech, practice. Have this cycle. Write, rewrite, practice. Write, rewrite, practice. Before I sum up my session, let me tell you something that our very own champion, Dhananjay Hettiarachchi, once he has mentioned. Every speech has a room to improve. When you are writing a speech, once you write the speech, never stop from there. Rewrite the speech, to the level, to the extent that you can't remove something from your speech, or else you can't add something to your speech. You can rewrite your speech 50 times, 60 times. Come to that level. You can't add something, you can't remove something, your speech from your speech. And practice, practice, practice. Remember, practice makes you perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, you as new members especially, who have still not delivered your icebreaker, your speech, take that step, take the action. Dreaming, you can never achieve to your goal. A plan or dream without an action always remains as a dream. Andre Gide has said, you can never cross the ocean unless you have courage to move away from the side of the shore. My dear friends, if you really want to swim, you have to move away and go into the sea. If you really want to swim, you have to jump into the pool. Then only you will learn. Friends, let's speak to Spark and let's nail it. And I'll be giving the control back to our gorgeous moderator, Toastmaster Lasni Sellaheva. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ravindu. Okay, so let's do a small checking to see how the listening of our members was, Toastmasters present here were going on. So Toastmaster Ravindu was talking about a cycle of how to nail it. So can we see in the chat box, anyone who remembers this, what the cycle is? Let's hear very quickly on the chat box. Let's see, Ravindu, how well your Toastmasters have been listening. Ah, lovely. So I see that we have our Toastmasters listening and well attentive towards this entire session. Right. So I hope all our Toastmasters enjoyed and learned, most importantly, learned how to organize your speech. A very important aspect of Toastmasters, since we have a lot of projects to complete.